indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. Councilman Hutchins, please.
Father, we thank you for this opportunity we have tonight to come and do the city business. We just ask that you'll give us wisdom and just help us to do everything that we can for the citizens of this city. And I just ask this all in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Davis.
Present.
Hutchins.
Present.
Candia.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Martina.
Present.
Mayor Caton.
Thank you. Present. A report out of closed session. Item A is on the consent calendar to be for approval, the agreement with OE3 and POA. And item B is to be continued to our next meeting. And I'd like to just take this opportunity to welcome Jamie with us tonight. She's standing in for Nubia, so welcome. Thank you. Okay, we'll go to declaration of conflicts of interest. I don't think we have any this evening. Number 6, ceremonial matters. And number 7, items from the public, non-agenda item. Any member of the public wish to address the council? Now it's time to do it. Seeing none, we'll go to item 8. Consent calendar. A, waive all readings of ordinances and resolutions set by title. B is approval of the warrants. C is approval of the minutes of July 8, 2014 meeting. D, a resolution ratifying memorandum of understanding between the City of Newman and Operating Engineers Number 3 and Safety Bargaining Group. And E is consider approval of the home sub-recipient agreement for fiscal year 2014-2015. Council's direction.
I move we accept the consent calendar as read.
Second the motion.
There's been a motion and a second twice. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Item 9, public hearings. We don't have any this evening. Item 10, regular business. A, is first reading and introduction of ordinance number 2014, next in number, amending Title I, administrative, amending Chapter 1.09, purchasing system of the City, Newman City Code. Michael?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll take this one. As you know, we've entered into a contract with Ms. Phaedra Norton of the City of Turlock, and as part of her contract, she's going through certain parts of our municipal code to make sure we're current and up to date with the current state legislature and policies and procedures that are being implemented throughout the state. One of the items that she had brought to our attention was the city purchasing system, and it may be a little bit antiquated in certain aspects of it. Part of that is if we were to have an emergency or if there were some other extenuating circumstances out there and we had to go out to bid for a process because we anticipated it was going to be more than 20,000, we have to pick the lowest bidder. And sometimes that's not always the best case scenario. The lowest bid doesn't always get you the best product. So she actually incorporated and is proposing some exemptions that they utilize in the City of Turlock here, and some of those I'll go over with you. When an emergency requires that an order be placed with the nearest available source of supply, really don't have time for that. When the commodity can be obtained from only one vendor, if it's specialized, for contracts involving the obtaining of professional or specialized skills. When calling for bids on a competitive basis in the opinion of the purchasing officer is undesirable, impossible, unavailable, or incongruous. When engaged in joint purchasing plans with the state, and when the council shall have adopted a resolution by at least 4 affirmative votes determining that the best interests of the city are served without compliance with the bid procedures prescribed in this chapter. So, based upon her recommendation, we're asking that you contemplate this new ordinance proposals for Chapter 1, Section 9 of the city purchasing system, and I can answer any questions that you may have at this time.
Questions or comments?
Now, I think it's excellent, especially some of the piggyback items that we can tie into with the state, and even I think, although I'm not sure, can't we do that with the schools or any?
We've actually done that with other municipalities. The City of Los Angeles or the County of Los Angeles sometimes has a master purchasing vendor agreement that we can piggyback on.
It's nice to see that $83,000 in the positive for a change.
Which one?
I was just saying the amount, instead of we're spending, it's nice that we're going to have that $83,000 to use, correct? Is that what you're saying?
I'm
Oh, shoot, did I pull the wrong one? I'm sorry, my bad. I did. I was looking I was looking at the wrong thing. Okay, no, I got it. I'm on the right page. I'm on the right page. I'm on the right page. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was, that $83,000 I saw on item AD just kind of like really stuck out. Man, that's nice. I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay, any other questions, comments? If not, council direction. Oh, we got first reading. So council direction on the first reading on item A, sorry. Jeez.
I so move for the introduction and first reading of ordinance number 2014. Next number, amending Title I Administrative, Chapter 1.09, City Purchase System of the Newman City Code.
Second the motion.
Been a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Okay, item B, designation of voting delegate and alternative voting delegate for the California League of Cities Annual Conference.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, this is an annual thing that we do. In this particular time, we need the council to vote on a voting delegate to send a resolution to the league. At this point in time, the mayor is the only one that will be traveling to the league conference in Southern California this year, as the other council members cannot make time in their busy schedules. So with that, we are recommending that the council adopt designate the mayor as the voting delegate for the League of California Cities 2014 annual conference.
So moved.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0, thank you. I'll try to represent you well. Item C is consider agreement for renewal and participation in the Stanislaus Operational Area Organization.
Thank you, Mayor. As most of you may recall, there was a huge tragedy in the Bay Area. It was called the Oakland-Berkeley Hills Fire. Out of that incident came Senate Bill 1871, which really require that counties adopt and create a new partnership, so that way multi-agencies can communicate with each other in case of emergency. As part of that, in 1998, Stanislaus County adopted their first agreement, and there's also been subsequent renewals in 2004 and 2010. Today, again, we're asking you to renew that contract for another 6 years, and that would update it until 2020. Again, this is a partnership for Stanislaus Operational Area Organization. The Board of Supervisors has already adopted it on July 1st, and it's just going around the cities right now. The agreement remains the same, with the exception of the dates, as our last agreement. And it was reviewed by county council and I believe selective city attorneys from some of the cities in Stanislaus County, and they all felt it was did not need to be amended. So with that, I can answer any questions that you may have, and the chief is here as well. He may be answering
Questions or comments for either the city manager or the chief? Council direction.
I'll make a motion we authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with the Stanislaus County Board of Supervisors in each of the 9 cities within the county.
I second that motion.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Moving right along, item 5, items from District 5 Supervisor Jim DeMartini. We are on record pace, fellas. Yeah. Thanks.
Good evening, Mayor Caton, council members, and staff. I just love the way you move the meeting along. So I just have a couple of items tonight. I just wanted to tell you, in case you're not aware of it, about the proposed power transmission line along Highway 5. This line is being proposed by the San Luis Delta Mendota Water Authority. It is a 84-mile long line that goes from Tracy to San Luis Reservoir and past that a little bit to a town called Dos Amigos. It is a 500 kilowatt line, which kilovolts rather, and it's big. It handles a lot of power. The line that's along Highway 5 right now is 350 kilovolts, so it's bigger yet. They're doing some environmental work. Staff from the Water Authority met with the county this last week, and I have a map of it. The line runs just right next to the one that's there, and it's on the west side of Highway 5. There's nothing that comes very close to Newman, but I thought might want to be aware of it if they haven't been to see you yet. Environmental work is going on now. Construction probably would be a couple of years away, depending on what the environmental problems might be. Anyway, so I have other information about it, should you, staff or anybody want to look at it. On the other news, the Health Summit, is coming up here in Newman on October 21st. That's where we have our weigh-in for the Biggest Loser contest. Everything seems to be in order for that. We have good participation from the vendors this year, and more of a stronger presence from Doctors Hospital, who's will be there, along with Emmanuel and other health organizations and fitness places. For the teams, we're asking that they send in the list of the members on their teams and their captain just as soon as they could to me so I can start arranging everything. I just want to be sure that everybody has a team in order. In the task force meeting, which we will do the last details of the Health Summit, will be on August 7th at Gustine City Hall. And that's all I have this evening.
Any questions or comments for Jim?
Jim, when I ride my bike by Crow's Landing, it looks like they're doing some work out there. Are they cleaning up out there, or is that just...
There is some cleanup going on by the Navy, but it's mostly underground water. They've spent a lot of money down there cleaning stuff up. The military, back in the 40s, when they got through with something, they dug a hole and buried it. And now they have to dig it all up now. And of course, I think the worst thing is they washed their aircraft off with the solvents, that went into the ground and down the groundwater, so that's being filtered now. Environmental work is going on, being funded by the county through the lease of the ag property. We're not ready at this time quite to release exactly how everything's going to look, but I'm sure when you see it, you'll be satisfied with it. It's just the development on the base itself, and no rail component, and development of the airport in a business park, 30 acres to start out with. But the work that's being done has to do with environmental things.
Okay.
It's either by our people or by the Navy.
Great. Anything else for Jim? Thank you. Items from the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few projects that we're working on right now, excuse me. The appraisal is ongoing for the land purchase and sale and purchase agreement that you approved at a previous meeting, so we're still working on that aspect of it. Another purchase that we made was 103 acres along Brazo and Canal School. We're working with our legal department right now with respect to water rights and some of the issues that might occur. As you know, we're trying to create an LID project, which is a low impact development project there that cleans the water, and then it can be recycled. And in our belief, it's probably best to recycle that under the water code, which allows us to then apply it to the land and farm with it. And this drought condition, that'd be a very helpful commodity at this point in time for not only the city but neighboring farms. So again, we're just working with our legal department on that. The Alliance came to see the mayor and I. They're trying to get more active on the west side, and we're happy that they're doing that. We did get a request today, not only us but all the cities, about a smaller 2,000 square foot warehouse that could potentially bring 20 jobs to an area. So we're probably going to submit 2 or 3 names and locations and hopefully try to attract them to Newman. They are looking at Stanislaus County. A couple things on the on the calendar that I might want to make note of. August 9th will be our last movie night of the year. Lego movie will be part of it. Please come out and join us. August 8th is the deadline for candidate nomination papers to be returned. So if your term is up, you may want to keep that date in mind. And then lastly, we put a flyer in front of you. Mr. Garrett Spalding, as you may all know, Garrett has been selected by the Make-A-Wish Foundation to comply with one of his wishes. He'll be driving through town on Friday, August 1st. He'll have a police escort. We're going to escort him through downtown, and we're going to try to encourage the businesses and our city employees to go down there and cheer him on as he goes towards and fulfills his wish by the Make-A-Wish Foundation. So please feel free to share this with anybody that you may know.
Michael, a question, because they talked about in the letter of proclamation day for him. Would that be something that we
Yeah,
might consider?
our staff will work with the mayor on there and,
Yeah.
and try to get something for him.
I would think
Ms.
if we
Ocasio's pretty good at whipping those things out.
Yeah, but, to get a lot of people from the city here, not just, sometimes we have a proclamation and there's no one in the audience, but I think it'd be great to see how many people we can get here, because this young man, the perseverance and going through all the pains that he has, and he still continues to have a great attitude, so it's just an example to a lot of people.
Yes. That's all I had for you, Mayor.
Okay.
Councilman.
Any questions, comments for Michael?
Yeah, Michael, just a question on the community service officer. Have we finally chosen a person yet?
I believe they're in background, Mayor,
We
or
are.
Chief.
The background package just hit my desk today for approval and was approved, so we'll be moving forward very rapidly with the hiring process.
The only reason I asked, because I've been getting a lot of complaints from a lot of people in the city that there's a lot of places that they're not up to code
Right.
that should be taken care of.
We're having this extra person on board, should be able to handle that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Just to touch on that, council member, we have quite a few of the abatements that we're waiting on to go forward because of letters need to be sent out, and there was a password hiccup with the assessor's office that changed in July. So we're trying to get that resolved so we can move forward with these. So there's quite a few properties that we're aware of that are pending, but we have to get the notification sent out to the property owners before we can bring them to council.
Thank you so much.
Might as well just continue on, Chief. I was going to call on you next.
Okay, I'll continue on. Before, what I have for you tonight is the statistics year-to-date as compared to where we were last year. I ran them just prior to the meeting. Part 1 crimes were down 26%, and Part 2 crimes were down 13%. So looks like for the 5th year in a row, our crime stats will be dropping if we continue on this pace.
It's great. We are the safest city in Stanislaus County.
We are. I'll answer any questions that you have.
Questions, comments for the chief? He's doing a great job. Thanks, Chief. Steph?
Good evening. I just wanted to let the council know that staff submitted an active transportation grant to StanCog on Monday. If we're awarded, we'll be able to receive funding for pedestrian railroad crossing improvements along Kern, Merced, and Inyo. So we're really excited about that. It's consistent with our non-motorized transportation plan, and it was actually a blessing the way we did our plan because it allowed us to be pretty much ready to go to apply for funding, which was the intent of the formatting. So we're hopeful that we get awarded, and if so, we'll have safer railroad crossings for our citizens. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions, comments for
And
staff?
Steph, refurbishing of the community service, is that starting yet, or?
The LJ Newman?
Yeah.
So we are awaiting the bid packs from our engineer. As soon as we get those, the notice will go out, and we will open up the bid to the public, and it will be returned for council review and award.
Very good, thank you.
Okay. Sue,
Yes.
you're up.
Good evening. I have one update on drought emergency and water conservation. This is very important because you might see a lot of information from news media. At this point, we are going to focus on water use comparison 2014 and 13 from January to June. In 2014, for 6 months, the city produced 331 million gallon, whereas 390 million gallon in 2013. So this graph shows where we are at in terms of citywide water conservation. The blue line here shows the 2013 water production. The red line here is showing the 2014 water production. 2014, January 17, the state governor announced the drought emergency. So you might remember that our city staff provide how we respond to 20% voluntary water conservation. So right after that, we started saving the water by changing or revising our water time, irrigation time. So as you can see here, so far for the last 6 months, the citywide we saved minimum 50%, but meter data here 8%. It means that commercial, industrial, residential is metered, is achieved 8% saving. I believe that this graph showing where we are at. So we are on the right track in terms of water conservation, because the statewide, the state recommend 20% reduction. However, actually 1% increase happened during the drought emergency. This is showing another kind of graph where we are at in terms of citywide water conservation from 2008 to 2014, from January to December. This is showing the water production rate. If you can see here, in June 2014, last month, the water production rate is the second lowest last 7 years. Even though our population has been increased, our number of business has been increased, I think it shows that we have achieved very significant water conservation. So we're working all together, our staff diligently working on the revising, keep changing our water irrigation time for parks. I think a graph shows us good, kind of good data where we're at. So state recently announced that August 1st, 2014, there will be a mandatory water use restriction. For example, there are three examples. If anyone violate this item here, the state would charge maximum $500 per day for individual, $10,000 per day for water district. There's a huge amount of the fine would impose on each community. So the city staff believe that the public outreach and education is a key, because the drought emergency is not just 1 year. The issue is going to be a long-term issue. So at the same time, we still keep the emergency action plan, just in case any the valve or water pump fails. Still we have action plan to recover that condition. So if you have any question, I can answer. So at this point, we are on the right track in terms of citywide water conservation.
Who would be responsible for controlling the $500 per day?
Yes.
Would it be the city or would it be the state?
Individual. So for example, any person in the city violate, and then the state water board staff can impose up to $500 the fine per day. It depends on the condition. Maybe they might charge $100, but it depends on the condition.
I think the law really is very poorly written, because I don't think
Yes.
it really addresses everything. I mean, it's like they want to get a law out there, and it really doesn't tell you what it really doing.
Yeah, so it's
Because
very,
there's
at
so
this
much
point,
waste out there.
yeah, it's very vague. We didn't have any information, additional information from state, but however, we can get some idea from other areas, like for example, stormwater quality prevention measures. The BMP is called BMP. So normally the state board member patrol the city for the construction site, and then sometimes they contact the city staff, or they just impose the fine for any violation. For example, several years ago, the KB Home and other developer got almost $5 million the fine for erosion problem, because they counted every single day and they charged $10,000 for each day. So at this point, it's very vague. However, we can get an idea like that. So they might patrol the city and find out any violation, and then they might charge.
Well, see, what I really dislike about it, anyone that has a sprinkler system knows as soon as you turn the sprinkler system on, you're going to get runoff. I mean, you can go around the town, you can see the city gets it all the time.
Yeah.
So this is a concern. When you water, you're going to get runoff. Now, the state's saying we're going to fine people for runoffs, and I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's right.
It doesn't really address what they should be addressing.
Yeah. At this point, the we are approaching to that issue is this. We are going to provide a bubble one, even though it's just a 5-minute, whatever, still, if we see some kind of a overflow onto the gutter or some other street, we are just providing the bubble warning. If it doesn't work, maybe we can help how to set up the timer. If it doesn't work, we move to the next level. For example, NOV, notice of violation. But still, we are seeing some violation, even though we're providing really good information associated with water conservation. If it doesn't work, this is the last resort to issue a citation. But so far, the last 6 months, we have never issued any citation. The first bubble warning worked really well.
Thank you. It's just a poorly written
Yes.
law.
So the state is very vague direction. So as you mentioned, yes, it's very difficult to say, okay, this is a huge violation or just minor. It's very difficult because sometimes the slope of the landscape area is very steep, and then just water just flow onto the street. It's very difficult. So we our staff trying to protect our citizens. That's why we patrol ourselves, and whenever we find something, we approach the citizen, the resident, and provide more information how to respond to the water conservation issue.
Great. Thanks, Kasum. Any other questions or comments? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Lou's not with us this evening, so we'll... Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Steph. I'm sorry, I apologize. Step on up and in the spotlight.
So, good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm here to just give you an update on the skate park Plaza project. So right now, we're in about 75% in the drawing phase, and these are some of the goals that I've really identified through the project. And the biggest one is making it visually appealing for the community. I've gotten a lot of feedback. Oh, we don't want to see a big gray slab out there. So we're working really hard to find a balance between providing for the kids and providing for the community. It's going to update a local recreational activity. And with Ms. Acasio's project of the memorial building, it's really going to update the entire side of the block. It's going to promote individual creativity, challenge different levels of experience, and provide a safe place for the kids to skate away from downtown, away from pedestrians, away from the buildings and businesses. So far, fundraising, we've managed to raise over $300,000 for the project. You can see the list of grants that we've been awarded, and we've had local fundraising over $4,500 and donations of materials by Joe's Landscaping. This is the existing skate park. As you can see, it's been well used and worn. This is the old pool site where the new park is actually going to go. This is an overhead visual of both like the dirt site and the existing skate park. We are going to try to salvage the existing skate park to keep it as a beginner area and keep some of the rails for beginner kids. There is a section of the skate park that will be cut out for a safety reason, and you'll see why. This is the proposed skate plaza. It's multi-level. It has rails. It has stairs. One of the biggest demands from the kids was a bowl. Because of the area, because of the expense, we went with some options that kind of give you bowl feel, but without putting a big hole in the ground where a lot of the kids walk through from after school at the high school. So there's a quarter bowl, there's a floating ramp, there's different boxes, different rails, different stairs. It's multi-level. This is an overhead view of looking down onto the skate park. just to kind of give you an idea, we've added color cement to also enhance, to bring color into it. And then the last slide shows the vegetation also that we're adding. So it's basically a skate plaza in a park-like setting. And if you have any, as an alternative to, we've added in fixing the curb gutter and sidewalk. So again, with Ms. Acasio's project of the memorial building, that whole entire block will be upgraded. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to
I think what's
answer.
cool about this, not only is it going to make that corner more appealing, more attractive, but I'm just excited about the fact that the kids had a buy-in to the project, and they had a lot of input. And
They did.
so, and I think because of that, there'll be a lot of, per se, buy-in into the project. The kids are going to take care of it.
Yes.
Because it's theirs, they had a lot of input. So I think it's going to be a great addition to that corner. Great addition.
And the kids are already buying into it in helping to maintain the current skate park. They've been coming over, getting the broom, sweeping, picking up their trash better, and kind of policing the other kids and going, when they're having behavior that's not really appropriate, reminding them, that, hey, we need to be responsible for each other.
Will we be able to tie in any of our cameras into that area?
There's actually
I
something
can-
that we're working on right now that Ms. House is working on with our designers, is the potential to put low-level lighting in there as well as cameras as well, so, and tie those into our camera system in the citywide, so.
That
I
was
know the
another-
police department's been involved in
Yeah.
that as well.
That was another alternative that we've added in since we were able to raise so much grant funding, was the chief and several staff members have met and we're not trying to light the place up, but we are trying to put in some ambient lighting.
The cameras
Um,
require a bit just for visibility purposes.
Right. So we've had that discussion. Those things are all off to the engineer. And we're about 75% right now. So the curb gutter and sidewalk and the added security measures are kind of holding us up slightly, but
I'm still amazed at the amount of use that the old skate park gets. I remember when it first went in, some of the kids complained it wasn't really much to it, and but there's a lot of kids that use that small little skate park that's
what's
there.
funny is kids from Patterson come.
Yeah.
And they have that big skate park there.
They got a great
and
facility
they
there.
have actually commented how tired they are of that skate park, and so they come and skate in our little park. I think it's funny, but I think kids are kids. When you have something, you're like, oh, that's not a big deal. And you look at someone else who doesn't have, or has something different, it offers some different aspects. When you skate the same thing all the time, you kind of get bored. So a new skate park they're very excited.
Yeah, it's great. And Chief, just even since having the old skate park there, and I think this is going to also help keep the kids out of downtown area. But I don't seem to hear as much complaints as they used to have from the business owners of kids on skateboards in the downtown area.
I would agree with you. We don't have as many complaints as we did in the past. When the Plaza first went in, it became the new skate. But
Yeah.
I think they're starting to get the idea, and with this project, I don't think they wanted to blow this project, so they've kind of reverted back to their skate park that they have and are trying to be on their best behavior.
I think it kind of sends, I'm impressed with the kids that they know that us older folks haven't forgotten about them and give them something to do and somewhere to go. So, and I think they'll take pride and ownership in that. So it's going to be nice. Any questions, comments for Stephanie? Okay.
Mayor,
Nick?
just real quickly,
Yes.
I think it's important to note also that, Ms. House has done an excellent job working with this, and she's, we've worked with Public Works Department, and we've worked with the PD department here. The majority of this is at grade or above grade. So you don't have the hole and the bowl like they may have in Patterson, where kids can get down in there and patrolling officers cannot see down in there. So this is going to be viewable from a policing perspective. So I think that's just showing that Ms. House has done a good job of incorporating the comments from all the different departments in there.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that because and it's been a few months ago, I was with Mayor Molina down there, and as I was looking at their skate park, And they have a full-time security guard that sits at their skate park.
Wow.
It just kind of blew me away. And I asked him, and he said, well, because they were having so many problems there, so they've employed a full-time security guard to sit there, and he parks in his car and sits there and just watches the kids. You know, so that was pretty interesting. So hopefully we won't get to that point. Okay, thank you, staff. Items from council members. Don?
Just a couple of things. Our under 12 boys rec ball all-star team took its second tournament last night. We went to Hillmar and beat them in extra innings and beat the Series Blaze, which is a travel ball team that plays year-round. So the kids were really excited, but they also won the Newman tournament 2 weeks ago and took third place in the series tournament 3 weeks ago. So we're glad it's over, but the kids had a good time.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Anything else?
That's all I got.
Anything? Stevie?
I don't have anything tonight.
Nick?
Nothing tonight.
Bob?
I have nothing.
Just a couple of things. I got a call today from Carlos Yamzon from Stancog, asked me to if I was interested in going to the Valley Vision trip up to Washington, D.C. with Supervisor Chiesa. So that's on the horizon. I'm going to try to make that work, and that's in September 8th through 11th. So I'm hoping to be able to represent not only the city but Stanislaus County with Supervisor Chiesa on the Valley Vision trip, meet with the legislators in D.C. and see if we can try to woo them as well as them and maybe get a little bit more help and assistance here in Stanislaus County. So that's on the horizon. And the California League of Cities Conference is also coming up September 3rd to the 5th. I'm going to try to do that. And just like to mention, a couple weeks ago, Councilmember Martina and I attended the employee luncheon at the Louis Newman Hall. And it just goes to, and I said that day, and I'll reiterate it, I think our employees do such a great job, and Stephanie, you're a testament to that, and all of our city employees do a great job. And so luncheon was really cool, and it was also funded by some non-city funds. So it was a great lunch, and I enjoyed it, and so just thank you for inviting council members to attend. And at one time, we used to throw a employee appreciation for all of our employees with some cash awards and things, but due to the times, that's kind of gone away. But I just want to say the lunch was great, and I enjoyed going, so thanks so much for the invite. And with that, if there's nothing else, take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Anybody want to stay? We're adjourned 5-0.